Hello and welcome to the first video of a series of videos that I'll be doing over time, making each of the Primarchs for Legions Imperialis. Today we're starting off with Rogal Dorn, as I love my Imperial Fists, although I won't be using them when it comes to Legions Imperialis, as I'm going to go Salamanders, mainly because they all seem better, and also, Vulcan is best. So what I'm doing here is I've taken the body from one of the tank cupola, it's a horrible pronunciation of that word, but there you go, troops. I'm applying a piece of plasticard to the middle to make them just that little bit taller than the rest. Don't want to make them too much taller, otherwise it looks a bit weird, but about an extra millimetre makes them stand out amongst their smaller Space Marine counterparts, like a Primarch should. The chainsword was taken from an Assault Marine. The legs and backpack are taken from a Standard Bearer. And this is me putting him together. So, clipping down the plasticard here, just so that it's, well, one, not sticking out everywhere, and two, making sure it's stuck down properly. The reason I use the troop top from the cupola is because he's got his hands together to hold the gun. He looks right for holding the chainsword in place, as well as the helmet looking very Imperial Fist, shall we say. Still just making sure I've got it to the right size and shape, because once I've got it attached to the legs, we're going to have a problem working on it. Just doing a bit of fiddling off screen here, I'm afraid, because I needed to make sure the backpack was just right, and I didn't want to slice into my thumb using the knife here. But once I'd got the big chunks off, I was happy just sort of shaving it down a little bit on camera there as well. So that's already, and then we've got the legs, so just a little bit off the top here, just to make sure it's nice and flat. We haven't got any of the sort of clipper stretch marks, if you like. You will have to forgive the clumsiness, it's my first time sort of working through the camera to do these things. So we're going to take the legs, take a little bit of my glue. I did, after doing this, I have now switched over to Tamiya Extra Thin, just so that I can get a little bit more control in regards to where the glue goes. However, not what my fingers are able to hold and do in regards to the body. I do manage to hold on to it eventually, honest. Eventually get it on in the right way around. Takes a little while. Again, because I'm working through the camera, and because my hands are big and clunky, and these guys are so small, but I did try using a pair of tweezers. Doesn't work out much better for me, to be fair. So here we go. This is the torso and the legs stuck together. As you can see, he's just got that little bit of extra height to him. It just makes him, as I said before, just makes him stand out that little bit better. So now we're going to attach the sword, I believe. Make sure we get it all positioned just right. Ooh. And it goes flying. I've started this channel to not 3D print things as well. Like, that's a big thing that I didn't want to do with it. While the 3D printed ones look amazing, I do play in my local Games Workshop store, and while doing modifications and claiming that they're a command squad are fine, going with a 3D print probably wouldn't be with the local manager. So I'm mixing up some green stuff here. This is eventually going to go a little bit around the waist to hide that piece of plasticard that's in the middle there. I'm also going to make the cloak from it as well. Now the cloak I did do a couple of attempts at. I believe there's only one left in the video, but we will get to showing that shortly. So this is showing the after attempt, I believe, of the first one. I couldn't quite pull it to the right shape. I'm using my knife, which I've got some lubrication on, just because it gives me that finer point to work with it at this scale. While silicone tools are lovely to use and brilliant at the larger scale stuff, when it comes to the little stuff, the fine point of the knife, especially with a fresh blade, really helps. You just have to be very careful not to injure yourself. As you can see as well, I haven't put on the backpack yet, so I can sculpt the cloak where I want it to be and try and get those folds in. Now I do have the large version of him as well, which you'll have seen in the thumbnail, so I was trying to replicate some of the folds that you get in that original model. A lot of what you see in the smaller scale stuff is a representation. It gives you the idea of the bigger model that you know the image of. So by trying to get the cloak just the right shape with just the right folds in, it just helps that a little bit more, I suppose. So as you can see, I keep going at it here, just pushing it around. Green stuff is very much more of a stiffer mix, so a bit more blue to the yellow. With the cloaks, it just helps it hold its position a bit better with the sculpting side of things, especially when you want to try and put the angle that I was trying to put in. Because there's nothing worse than you get it looking just right and then your green stuff's that little bit too soft and it just sort of flops down on you. It's a pain. It's a pain. So, with me having the top of the cloak how I want it to look, I now put on the backpack. Just gluing it in place. Now, it's not as ornate as the backpack on the large Forge World model, but it does. It works quite nicely for him at this size. I start using my fingers here to try and pull out the cloak a little bit to get that sort of gust of wind look going on that he has coming from the side there. Then using the knife again just to try and put in a little bit of those folds, just the idea of them. It doesn't need to be too, like I say, it doesn't need to be too accurate. Just give the proper vibe of him. Just pull out the other side a little bit as well, just where I've accidentally pushed it in with my fingers again. Big clumsy fingers, tiny little model. But I'm happy with how he comes out in the end. So now we take a nice, really thin, long piece, and that's the piece that's just going to go around his middle area and just hide that piece of plasticard that we have on there. The cloak had dried by this point, and as you can see, it probably looks a little bit tidier than in the last one, just because I've re-angled it and put it at that sheer sort of angle that it has. We just go around his waist now, just put it on a bit like a belt really. It doesn't need to be overly decorative at the scale. The sword's going to hide a good chunk of it, and I'm also going to add the what I would call a side skirt, but that's because I make Gundams. Just like the little leg protectors at the top of the legs there. We'll add those on in a moment from a nice little piece of plasticard. So just pushing it in, make sure it's nice and secure, doesn't look out of place on the model. There's no point hiding what's there if it doesn't look right. And then we're going to bob some glue on. Now I believe this is where I'm putting on the side skirts. We'll soon find out. Oh, We had a glue clog, apparently. Yeah, you can just see the little side skirts there. Where I've just moved them with my finger, so just going to put those on. All I did with those was just try and cut them at a straight angle to give the proper triangular base look. And flatten off the tops as well. Just not the camera as well, that's always good. Just a little dab of glue on each side. And then just get the knife, gently push it in there. And then we can just move it into place using the tip of the blade there. Again, they're a bit oversized for the model, but again, it's giving that idea of what's there. It's all about that idea of the look, isn't it? Just put on the other one as well. Drop the model because we can keep dropping him. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, and then just shimmy them round, get them into the right position on the side of the legs. Just looking right. There we go. You can't see them a lot now because they're on a white base, obviously. But they do stand out quite nicely in the finished model, which I'll be painting up separately. So now we go for the installation of the sword, the final piece, because it was the most finicky for me to do. So get the sword looking just about right. Move it around a little bit again, just using the end of the knife there, just to try and position it. I did put it more towards the floor than his actual hands, so it sits just below where they meet. But again, on the actual end model, it doesn't. It's not really noticeable, to be honest with you. But position it in there. There we go. And there we have a mini Rogal Dorn. So I'm sure the other ones will look a lot more professional, but they'll probably be 3D printed like the ones that are out there. So I did afterwards decide that I was going to bob on the little Aquila that he has just on his backpack. So I just try and cut myself a straight enough angle there, and then a straight enough angle there, trying to make it look right. Now I know what you're all thinking. You have lines on there, why aren't you using the lines? If I could give you an answer to that, I would. It comes out looking good either way. Just take the ends off there, so it hasn't got as sharp a look. And then I'll just glue it onto the backpack, which already has some glue on there. There we go. And that's our Rogal Dorn. Now, I did also make him a base as well that looks very close to the full-size base that the Heresy era model has. And you can see it here. And if you'd like a short on that, I can make one up. It wouldn't be long. But this is him in all of his glory. Next we'll see him next to his larger Heresy counterpart. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you've enjoyed. More to come soon, fingers crossed.